So now we're moving on to how to celebrate when you're having an intimate wedding. So as opposed to an elopement where there's maybe only two or maybe a few more of you, where you can probably just make a regular restaurant reservation. When it comes to an intimate wedding and you maybe have 10, 15, 20 people or possibly more, you are definitely going to be needing to look into some different options and in terms of a place that can accommodate the size of your group when it comes to a meal. And yeah, my hair is not cooperating today. Anyway, the first option that's probably the least expensive is making a large party reservation at a restaurant of your choice. That you will more than likely be seated in the main dining room, so there are some disadvantages in terms of maybe ability to do speeches. Even having a photographer, it's really awkward for me to be trying to take photos when there's a bunch of other random guests in the restaurant. It's some places probably just not even allowed or just not possible in terms of space. So there are some disadvantages to that, but if you're not planning on having photography, you're not interested in dancing or anything like that, you just want to have a nice meal, making just a larger than usual, dining reservation might just be the thing for you. So that's definitely your first option. The second option would also be approaching a restaurant and looking into using one of their private dining rooms. And obviously, they're all different sizes, different kinds of options at restaurants around New York City. There are quite a few that have private dining rooms that can accommodate up to, say, like a dozen people. Pretty standard. Some can take more. You can also book several rooms and sort of combine them, which can be great if you're looking for like a little dance floor or just have more space maybe for cocktails. Super gonna depend on where you're looking at. One example would be L'Artusi, which is in the West Village. They have a special private dining room that they actually it's called their supper club. They also have another space, I believe, in their main restaurant as well, but the supper club is dedicated to like intimate weddings, rehearsal dinners. They can accommodate like 27 people. It's a bit tight if you have that many people to do a little ceremony there, but you could. And so there are places that could also accommodate a ceremony, or maybe if it's raining, have the ceremony there. But for a wedding meal, especially, that's just one really great option. It's a beautiful space, and there are many others in the city that can accommodate that number. You start getting over 25, 30, 40 people, you're looking at my option number 3, which is doing some sort of a buyout, or looking at a wedding venue or a hotel where you can maybe combine some rooms together and then use the hotel catering services. That can definitely get more pricey for sure. You can also consider hotel suites. So if you book a suite at the hotel and it has extra space, one of my favorite weddings ever, this was in New Orleans though, they booked the suite on the top floor, had a little terrace for the ceremony. It had like a dining room, had like a living room area where they did some dancing with a little jazz band, and they had a dining room. And I think it was I don't know, maybe 8, 9, 10 people, something like that. And then the hotel catered, they came up and served the meal there. And I thought that was really cool. And I think that could be an option. Certainly there are hotels in New York City that can accommodate that. All of those things are going to be substantially more pricey than having, a large party reservation at a restaurant somewhere. Let me see if there are any, other considerations. Dancing. If you want dancing, you definitely need to look for a place that has more space if you plan on doing it there. And there are restaurants that have the capacity for maybe having like a DJ. Band is going to be definitely a wedding venue of some kind or a much larger space, but to have a DJ or to have like a PA with with somebody curate some music on an iPhone. I've had a couple weddings that will do that. There was a place, oh my God, was it Freeman's? That had a space, and they were able to dance and have a meal. There are a number of these places, or a number of like smaller wedding venues as well that might be options for this too. And if for some reason that you don't find a place that you want, or you're like, and we really want this restaurant, we really want this meal, we want this fine dining experience, we want to focus on the meal then, but we do also maybe want to go dancing after. That's a wonderful option if you have, like, say, a group of you that want to go dancing to, book a table, book an area at a club, or even plan on having a gathering, like a cocktail gathering for additional friends. Maybe you don't invite everybody to the dinner. A lot of people do this for rehearsal dinners where they'll do like a dinner, formal, like seated dinner, and they'll be like, well, meet us at such and such a bar, and we're going to have cocktails, and you pay for the cocktails for this group. you can certainly do that for an intimate wedding or an elopement as well. You can do like a lunch and then plan later in the day, meeting up with a bunch of friends and family at a bar that you like. And there are different options. You can certainly get private rooms, or you can reserve areas. I have a lot of this information on my website, which will detail some of the options for small weddings, small venues. But there are many other bars and places that could accommodate this. They typically will book other types of events like birthday parties and stuff. So if there's a place you really want, just with everything, you should book it as soon as you can. But you will get better pricing more than likely, or at least lower minimums on a weekday. But that could be a lot of fun. If you can't quite get dancing in at the place where you want to have dinner, it could be great to do that. And also your hotel suite. Soho Grand, I did a wedding there once. It was really fun. They actually got married at a church and then had the reception, buffet style, like in the suite. And then they had the terrace with where they could dance and had a DJ or something. It's been a few years, but that is an option too. So anyway, there are many options for having an intimate wedding. You have a lot of choices.